The main auditorium, shoda ngomthiyane. Class on Zoom, DA, are we back?
Yes, Speaker, we are here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Who else? Ngumalo. Councillor Sibisi. Councillor Mabanga. Councillor Mbanjwa.
Ila Mandela room, Speaker.
Okay. CDP,
Present, Madam Speaker.
AIC, DLC, Mosa,
Present, Madam Speaker.
TA, Let's then start with our meeting. We move on to the third report. DM, are you here?
Yes, I am, Madam Speaker.
Please.
May the House receive the third report of the Executive Committee.
Thank you, DM, Acting City Manager.
Thank you.
Order,
Madam
order.
Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Madam Speaker, Jamil ACDB.
Third report of the Executive Committee meeting held on the
Madam Speaker.
19th.
Pardon?
Madam
Who's
Speaker,
there?
Jamil ACDB.
ACDP is here.
If I'm correct, before we went on break, we closed number 7, and it seems like we have passed item number 7 and 8, and now we've gone to the third report, and we have not dealt with item number 7 and 8.
We did. We finished.
Okay.
We finished the second report. We're now dealing with the third report.
Third report of the Executive Committee meeting held on the 19th of the 5th month, 2020, via MS Team lockdown period. Committee recommends.
Councillor TM Mthethwa, the speakers here.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm going to be very brief here, but I think it is worth mentioning that when
Please, John.
Councillor Mthethwa.
Yeah.
Councillor Mthethwa, kancane nje Nyambozi. Please, councillors, mute everybody and allow Councillor Mthethwa to speak. Councillors, we have started with our meeting. Order, order. All right, let's allow Councillor Mthethwa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. When this process started, when lockdown was announced by the President and subsequently the regulations, as the Democratic Alliance, we mentioned publicly in all any stakeholder, regardless of one's standing in community, regardless of one's political affiliation. We have stuck with that position up to now. And we do acknowledge that there has been challenges, very difficult to resolve. But we must, however, Madam Speaker, commend the commitment from a program, especially with regards to food distribution and voucher distribution, even though there were challenges, but we were able to work together as political parties, especially between ourselves as the DA and your office, Madam Speaker. We must make mention, we don't usually mention of difficult circumstances, sometimes words, because when this program was announced by the mayor, people expected more than what councillors can give. We must, however, say that the 1,000 vouchers proved not to be enough in all the wards in eThekwini. While recognizing the fact that it is almost impossible, we would want to propose, Madam Speaker, that in future when we do this, maybe we split these vouchers, a 600 voucher into two, so that we perhaps have a 300 rand voucher, so that we are able to cover more people that otherwise a program of this nature, where necessary, where councillors request, they must be provided with both administrative and logistical support. But overall, there was no speaker that needs all of us to pull together in one direction. As a Democratic Alliance, we avail ourselves to work with everybody for the betterment of the lives of our people in eThekwini. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Isop, ACDP.
Madam Speaker, the ACDP wants to thank the municipality and the administration, especially the 1,000 Rand food hamper per ward is not sufficient to eradicate poverty and to remove the fear that's on the ground when it comes to poverty. More stringently with councillors, especially PR councillors, because in certain wards, PR councillors are recognized via the councillor, but in other wards it's difficult because it becomes politicized. And therefore, as the ACDP, we accept this and we ask that after this particular meeting, that there will be an outline plan on how we can help with more food parcels in our ward. Thank you.
Councillor Gumede, IFP, thanks.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The IFP is very grateful and thankful to the eThekwini municipality for coming up with such a program. And we are very grateful together with the PR councillors without looking at the political party or political affiliation, but not forgetting the fact that there are some areas where there are complaints whereby you will find each house is receiving 4 to 2 vouchers to 4 vouchers per family, which wasn't good at all. And in the near future, if we can sit down as the council or the councillors that are residing within that area, we can identify working hand in hand to assist the community, because it's not misused like in other areas as it happened. Probably the cry that we are having right now, we won't be facing it. But we are very much grateful to the program that came up with this council. And we are still saying that we wish to see more of assistance being given to our communities, irregardless
Your time is
of
up. Thank you.
political
Your time is up.
and all that. 7 minutes.
Yes. Councillor Anipen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Those of us who are not ward councillors have eloquently articulated our dissatisfaction with being conspicuously and deliberately excluded from the project. That, however, is the least of our concerns. Complaints have been mounting around the lack of transparency with the distribution of vouchers, the duplication of recipients, and the general lack of accountability in managing the project. Madam Speaker, while we commend this initiative as one that is needed during the time of COVID-19, it remains to be seen who are genuinely receiving the relief and if they are actually the necessary beneficiaries. It seems that those who are politically connected or have allegiance to the elected most every purchase, and her office has been in lockdown since the day she was elected. The question begs, who is actually getting these vouchers?
Order, Speaker.
This is just one example of poor planning and sheer
Continue.
bad politicians. Not supporting this project will completely prevent the poor from getting the help that they need, and the MF will not have that on their shoulders. We therefore support these recommendations. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Councillor Graham, what's the point of order?
Speaker, I object to the MF using their speaking time to cast aspersions on the Democratic Alliance's councillors. It's not our fault that the MF don't have ward councillors.
That's not a point of order. That's not a point of order.
Madam
Councillor
Speaker.
Nicole,
Point of
order. Councillor Graham, don't defend.
You're obliged to hear my point of order.
No,
You're obliged to hear
Councillor-
me out, please.
no. We allow Councillor, the Chief Whip,
Speaker,
Councillor Nicole.
in terms of the rules
Siyabonga.
of order, you are obliged to hear my point of order before ruling on it.
Honorable Speaker, firstly, let me start by saying, as the Chief Whip of the municipality, I can't allow Honorable Nicole to disrespect you.
Point of order.
We are not going to accept that. But coming to the point, Honorable Speaker, siyawubonga kakhulu umkhandlu
Hear my
weTheku
point of order.
oholo ukhongolose
Unsubstantiated
ezethambo
claims about,
lenyoka ehlabeli bazondayo Oliver Tambo
unless Councillor Anapin has proof for his claim.
ukuthatha a decisive stance kulesikhathi esinzima. Honorable Speaker, asodlala uNicole ukuthi indlala ayina politiki, indlala ayina EFF, indlala ayina IFP, indlala ayina APC, indlala ayina DA, indlala ayina ANC, indlala nje. Yaphinda futhi umkhandlu weTheku oholo ukhongolose ukuthi njengoba amawadi e110 awathole wonke ngokulingana ngaphandle kokubhekwa ubuqembu, kwase kuba ne directive futhi eyaqhamuka emkhandlwini noma bekhona ke Honorable Speaker umkhandlu weTheku ukuthi umuntu musa ukumbuka ngeso lepolitiki, ngoba abantu abalambi ngoba eyipolitiki ethile. Indlala ingena kuwona wonke ngisho ngiyaphezulu. Uma ngabe sathi osekwenziwe uhulumeni omkhulu nokwenziwe iprovince, nathi njengomkhandlu weTheku sifaka igxalaba. Siyacela ukusho ukuthi laba bangatholanga abangalwi namakhansela kube ngathi bebezondwa emawadini newadi. Zikhona ezinye indlela zokulekelela. Madam Speaker, usasa uyakwazi ukuthi mangabe ukuthi awuyiholi impesheni, awuholi grant, awuyiholeli ingane, uzi applyele wena 11 u-applyele ukuthi uthole ama-food voucher. Futhi ngaphezulu kwalokho uyakwazi ukuthi u-applye ukuthi uthole i-grant le abantu abangasebenzi ewu-350 rand for 6 months. Uma ngabe ukuthi awuholeli ingane, awuholi impesheni, awusebenzi. Leyo number, Madam Speaker, WhatsApp wayo uthi 082 046 8553 082 046 8553 noma usende even bazokodwa kuma ngabe ungatholanga ungalwi namakhansela, kodwa zama futhi lama avenues bese sicela kuma khansela akithi ukuthi mangabe umkhandlu uphinde wathola amanye amandla akunikezwe abanye, futhi uphinde wathola amanye amandla akunikezwe abanye futhi abazangazange balithole. Uma ngabe sibheka abantu abaxakekile, siyazi ukuthi singama political parties, singama political
politician abanye ba political activist kodwa lesi akusona isikhathi sokushayina kodwa isikhathi sokuthi sisize abantu bakithi abaxakeke ngempela. Madam Speaker, ngiyabonga.
Is the commendation agreed?
Point of order, Speaker.
What's the point of order?
The point of order, Speaker, is that a member, in a disrespectful manner and making disparaging remarks which were not proven. This is a public meeting, and I did not come here, nor did any other member of my political party, and make disparaging remarks about colleagues. If there is some kind of proof, Councillor Annapin must submit that to your office and you can hear it. So I would please like Councillor Annapin to withdraw those remarks because they are a violation of the rules of order.
We're going to have point of order on the point of order. Yeah,
Party or any name. I don't know why
give me an opportunity, Councillor Nyanisa. I have, Nicole is raising a point of order after we've dealt with the matter and went through it, that everybody agreed with the recommendation.
Hello, Mama.
But you know what, councillors?
Madam Speaker.
Councillor Taban, you know what? I'm worried by the behavior of you councillors, because unmuting, she was do that. But I haven't said it done. At least give respect to the speaker. Let's continue with our meeting.
Speaker, it's Councillor Graham.
Madam Speaker, my hand was
Fatima.
up.
It's Councillor Graham, Speaker.
I've given somebody else the platform.
Yeah. I'm a voucher.
Councillors. Close of mic. Please, let us behave as public representatives. We've dealt with the matter, we're done with the matter. Let us continue.
Now, Madam Speaker,
you're starting to misbehave now. Please let us behave as public representatives. Let us continue with our meeting.
Madam Speaker, Councillor Annapin, please, I beg your indulgence.
Recognize me.
Councillor Annapin, I am saying let us continue with the next item.
I understand that, Madam Speaker, but I beg your indulgence just for a moment.
Annapin, Councillor Annapin, let us continue with the next item.
Point of order, Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I don't have a problem.
Councillors, let us continue with our meeting. We dealt with the issue, we're done with the issue.
This and we can.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker, my hand is still up.
Who's that?
It's Councillor Kum. How many times you've been cutting it? And we don't see a minute, Tina, here when we are talking. I've got the right to raise it.
Okay, but you had your 7 minutes. Thank you. Let's continue. Item 2.
Madam Speaker.
No.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
No.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
Item 2.
We're dealing with item 2 now.
Progress report on request to borrow.
Waiting for interpretation, Madam Speaker.
Capital projects. Committee recommends.
You know what? I'm going to chase some councillors out of this meeting. It's high time now I do that. Chief Whip.
Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I thought the explanation was that we'll use a Zoom so that we'll be able to mute people if they are disrupting the meeting. Why don't
behaving? They are muted and they unmute. That's the misbehavior I'm talking about. Let's continue.
Madam Speaker.
Deputy Mayor.
And so as the other councillors understand, the DBSA has some difficulties.
I'll go again. No, sing them, sing.
Councillors, is the withdrawal supported?
Agreed,
Supported.
Agreed. Let's move. Item three.
Amendment to Memorandum of Agreement for Participation in Global Cities. Committee recommends.
Of this honorable house. We are on item
Mr.
3.
Point of procedure, Councillor Graham.
Councillor Graham.
I'm informed that the translation is not working.
Can we sort the e-translation out? They are attending to that. Can we continue in the meantime?
With item 3, it's the amendment to Memorandum of Agreement for Participation in Global Cities. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation? Nobody is against. Let's move.
Item 4, decisions taken. Legend Mr. Cedric Sugar Ray Kulu. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation?
4.2, approval of 6-month payment holiday for businesses affected by COVID-19 in eThekwini. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Agreed.
Item 5, economic recovery plan. Committee recommends.
We have a speaker here, Councillor Prinsloo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To deal with an out-of-the-box thinking approach will be required to shield the city's economy against a continued hard lockdown and all of its illogical regulations. The implementation, in turn, manufacture an environment for jobs to be created. The virus and the effects of the lockdown on the economy must be sustainable over an 18 to 14 month time frame. The 56 million rand proposed economic interventions by the city will certainly provide some relief, but not nearly enough is being implemented to ensure that jobs are retained and businesses are still operating productively after the lockdown. It is concerning that the city would rather choose to spend an additional 1.1 billion rand on staff costs by the end of May 2020 than to put a considerable amount of money towards a proper, fully funded economic intervention plan. The Democratic Alliance has stressed on several occasions that the intensive review of the future economic growth path based on the new normal for the city has to be undertaken. On the 20th of May 2020, the DA submitted a broad and in-depth economic recovery and relief proposal to the city leadership. I'm glad to see that some of the listed and incorporated some of our proposals in today's sitting. However, this is not nearly enough to shield these SMMEs in the tourism and hospitality sectors. With eThekwini municipality only receiving 9.5% of the total COVID-19 growing funding available from national government, the DA proposes that the city dramatically adjusts its thinking and start investing these funds into retaining as many jobs as possible, creating additional jobs during and after the lockdown period, stimulating key local sectors, for example, the informal economy, providing relief for both the ratepayers and businesses, ensuring financial stability of the city, and finally identifying additional resources of funding within and outside of the city. The DA undertook a broad consultation process that involved an online questionnaire that was answered by more than 760 industry professionals, expert advice from city officials, inputs from local elected public representatives, and opinions from business people, employees, and unemployed citizens informed the Democratic Alliance of economic interventions. Some of these interventions include alleviating poverty and unemployment by increasing and formalizing the recycling activities across the city, through enforcing a mandatory recycling program to all communities currently on the DSW recycling program will create several employment opportunities within the recycling sector. Over time, remaining communities will be phased into the program, expanding the demand for our local recyclers. Secondly, by expanding several environmental EPWP programs, we'll achieve two objectives. One, creating sustainable jobs and curb the effect of climate change. Programs like the Western Blue Flag Beach Stewards Program and Working for Ecosystem Program could provide a massive opportunity for expansion and unemployment, raising the maximum value of small infrastructure and maintenance projects that the city can undertake while creating more jobs. 88% of our respondents from the DA's Economic Recovery and Relief Questionnaire indicated that they did not know how to access any municipal relief. A digital platform providing access to municipal relief packages, online relief approaches and processes, and supporting tools needed to start and grow a business must be created by the city as soon as possible. Supplying SMEs with COVID-19 starter toolkits that contain the essentials to help get their businesses back to work safely is also required. These toolkits could be very helpful for small hairdressers and beauticians in the informal economy or sector to keep their working areas clean and hygienic. The DA also proposed 84% of the respondents of the DA's questionnaire indicated that they support for some kind of deferrals of payments of rates and utilities, deferring a maximum of their businesses. Deferring payments will also be payable without interest for a specific period of time. Temporary deferrals of rental payments and utilities for municipal-owned leases properties must be instituted and not only to small businesses on the beachfront. Establishing a tourist tracking of the Durban tourism should ensure, as far as possible, that all products required by supply chain management be sourced within the city borders. 80% of these responded the city should not utilize double B, triple E, or any transformation regulations when making decisions on economic relief or intervention. Box immediately, the lockdown will lead to more job losses and long-term suffering of our citizens. President Ramaphosa has called for collaboration during this period. Economic recovery, the DA therefore notes this report. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Kaunda.
Tegwi wona oqala wagxuma wahlelo noma uhlaka la lokubheka ukuthi siwufukula kanjani umnotho laze la yonikezwe nomgcini mafakazwe lonke emva koba lishicilelwe lapho sabona seliqhamuka leko Cape Town sekhona sebekubeka njengokwama BNBs nje sebeqala sebeqhamuka nenhlelo nakona ke lokho kushiwo kwiphu DA ku economic development siyitholile idocument yabo ekhuluma ngalo lohlelo emva koba sesiqhamukile thina njengomkhandlu nalolu hlelo okusithuthi setshenzisiwe zifana ncamashi nentsha abasebenzi bethu nealliance uqinisekisa ukuthi ku develop lama programs which are more similar nama programs already nesesiwa developile sumkhandlu weThekwini sesiqala ukuimplement inhlelo ezinqala uqinisekisa ukuthi isimo sezomnotho siyabuyela esimeni ngiyabonga somlomo.
Thank you very much. Is the recommendation agreed?
Noted.
Noted. Let's continue.
Item-
Mtiani, what is it? Mtiani, where's the whip? Uzophuma la. Let's continue.
Item 6, update on credit facility and short-term overdraft. Committee recommends.
Councillor McPherson.
Thank you, Speaker. You see, the problem that exists here is that the ANC have fallen into a trap which many other institutions have fallen in over the past 4 or 5 years, which have plunged the country into the financial crisis that exists in some of these entities. Had the ANC, for example, in the city, had implemented basic, practical financial necessities, this, I'm convinced, could have been avoided. And another solution would have been found rather than having to borrow or extend the overdraft by R1 billion. So had, for example, ANC been serious about the hundreds of millions of rands being stolen every year of water and electricity, not lost, stolen, had the ANC taken a stand in line with the economic crisis, worsened of course by COVID, by rejecting and standing tall and not standing behind.
Speaker, point of order.
I want to repeat and say.
Point of order, Speaker.
I want to repeat and say, if we have a point of order, after the speaker, because we don't want people interjecting, after the speaker is finished, I'll allow the point of order. Who raised the point of order?
Councillor Tango, Speaker.
Okay, Councillor Tango, I'll give you an opportunity, but allow the speaker to finish.
Thank you,
No, we
Madam Speaker.
agreed, councillors. We will have chaos in this room. Let's continue because we agreed. Let's continue.
Speaker, this councillor is provoking, Speaker. I'm sorry.
Councillor,
But
continue.
this councillor is
Don't speak and leave what the speaker is supposed to do to the speaker. Continue.
Thank you. Thank you, Speaker. I'm speaking against the necessity to extend our overdraft by R1 billion, collectible debt of billions. Stop wasteful expenditure, reprioritize spending, not only with the city not loan, which we've deferred back to committee, but there would have been additional 500 to 1 billion rand available for COVID relief and further relief to ratepayers and businesses. And there would have been a minimal increase in the current 2021 budget. Instead, what is being done here is exactly what the other allies have done, like SAA and Eskom and PRASA. They've borrowed money. Instead of collecting money internally and saving money, what's the easy solution? Go out and raise more money. Go out and extend the overdraft. It's not sustainable. There's only 370,000 ratepayers left. There's only 370,000 ratepayers that actually contribute. We've got a population of 3.5 million people. Irrational. This is an irrational management of the financial crisis that the ANC are taking us all into. You don't even need, may I say, you don't even need a maths lit with a 30% pass rate to see right through means to an end for this, for the ANC. And that is to continue financing irrational spends, like the irrational bonuses and salary increases alone, which are going to amount to 600 million for this irrational overdraft increase. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Tango, can you come?
Speaker, ngiyabonga Speaker. Uyazi sike sama nje la emkhandlweni njengamanje sibuka uCouncillor uGraham elwa ngama accusations akadenziwa against iCouncillor lase Ward 48. But manje uyangena uCouncillor McPherson as he's insinuating twice, he's saying ukuthi uhulumeni ka-ANC utshontsha imali, ANC utshontsha imali. Ngicela withdraw leyo chair unless angakwazi ukuthi iphuma. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you. The point of order. Do you hear what the point of order is about, Councillor McPherson? The accusation against the ANC for stealing money. Can you withdraw that? Can we continue with, Councillor, I've noted that Councillor McPherson is not responding. Councillor Kaunda, can we continue?
Madam Speaker, Councillor.
No, I've given an opportunity to Councillor McPherson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
It's something else. Something else.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Councillor Kaunda speaking.
Continue.
Thank you very much.
Speaker.
I'm not sure what kind of an animal is the DA. Whether it's an amoeba, because not so long ago, the speaker on the other item, which is Councillor Prinsloo, was saying the municipality need to get more money to ensure that we do the economic recovery plans. And the question, how are we going to get that money? And they were even saying that let's try and get 1.1 billion rand to come and assist. And this credit facility, we're not saying we're taking the money, we're saying we're opening this credit facility up to. If there is a need for us to take the money, the issue will come back to council, we'll analyze the situation, we'll borrow the money when there is a need. So it doesn't make sense where Mark Fison will lecture us about irresponsible matters, but we felt that we will use in terms of finances. I'm sure we're going to swim through in terms of this pandemic as well. So as the city of eThekwini will support businesses around eThekwini, will create opportunity, will ensure that whoever owe the city have to pay the city. And unfortunately, there are items that we still have to consider, which talks about credit control issues. We will see how the DA will react in terms of those issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Is the recommendation agreed? Who's against?
DA, Speaker.
The DA is not in support. And the recommendation. There.
DLC, Madam Speaker.
DLC.
Madam Speaker,
Yes.
Madam Speaker, the ACDP is not in support.
The ACDP
Speaker, the minority
not
front
in
is not in
support.
support.
MF not in support.
Speaker, the IFP is not in support.
IFP not in support.
Madam Speaker, Musa is not in support.
Musa not in support.
Madam Speaker, the DLC is not in support.
I didn't hear you, DLC. You're not in support.
DLC is not in support.
Not in support.
No.
Okay, we finished now. EFF. The EFF supports. Independence, Mabanga.
Independent, Mabanga supports.
CBC.
Malombo is here, support. CBC is unable to log in.
Oh.
Madam Speaker, Petros is supporting the IMD.
Thank you. And Banjwa. AIC. Supports. Banjwa. Who else? TA. TA.
Madam Speaker.
Yes. Yes, I'm
Nomalo is supporting.
Yes, with the you're supporting.
Yeah, I support, ma.
TA was the TA. Okay, we're done. APC, where are you? Support? Support. The recommendation is carried. Let's move. ANC Chief Whip.
Madam Speaker, there is no way that we cannot support this item. The ANC is leading the municipality. We support the item. Thank you.
Chief Whip, yeah, you're right.
Problem.
All right, let's continue.
Item 7, COVID-19 Special Payment Relief Committee recommends.
We've got speakers here. Councillor Mngadi, IFP.
Madam Speaker, can you please note the minutes?
Yes, I am.
When they changed from 2 minutes to, from 7 minutes to 2 minutes.
Please correct the minutes.
Okay. Now I just wanted to prove the point that we are covered. Thank you.
7 minutes.
Point of clarity, Madam Speaker.
All right. Okay. All right. It means the recommendation, is the recommendation agreed? Is anybody against? The recommendation is carried.
Item 8.
Yes.
Item 8. Item 8, disconnection of government properties and parastatals. Committee recommends.
The recommendation agreed? Who's against?
Noted.
Is the recommendation noted? Okay, let's continue.
Item 9, COVID-19 interventions to informal settlements, hostels, rental stock, temporal residence, residential accommodation, and mass care centers. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Agreed.
We've come to the end of the third report. Can
Madam Speaker, there is a speaker for IFP there.
Where?
There's no speaker for IFP there.
Where?
I'm jealous speaker to usibona ngithi asikho. Speaker, cela ukudidisa. Engathi ayisebenza ama mic ethu la eMandela Room.
Okay, it's true, it's true. No, I apologize, it's true. But there are two people here, Kuala or Kumete. Who's the speaker?
Abalale ngenxeba speaker sesivotile. Mama speaker.
No, it's an error.
Mama speaker, la eMandela Room ama mic ethu asikwazi ukukhawula.
Can you please? Yeah. You know what? Your microphones are muted deliberately.
Kodwa nathi kufanele sibe ingxenye yomhlangano.
No, anizwa kwakuzwa ukuthi sithini.
Ngithi
No, let me explain again. Let me explain again. All our microphones are muted. When you want to speak, you press your microphone. It's going to indicate here that there's a speaker either in Mandela Room, Luthuli Hall, or the chamber.
uqinisile mama speaker kodwa ngasikhathi ungibiza mina umbanjwa lana ngithe ngiyacindezela lana uze wadlula ngingakawazange ukuparticipate.
Okay, I apologize. It means they didn't unmute you. The item number 9, IFP.
Please pass the item, Madam Speaker.
Okay, all right. Can I invite the Deputy Mayor to please table the fourth report?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. May the House receive the fourth report of the Executive Committee.
Acting City Manager.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The fourth report of the Executive Committee of its meeting held on the 26th of the 5th, 2020 via MS Teams. Item 1, determination of upper limits of salaries and benefits for municipal councils. Committee recommends.
The speakers here, Councillor Mabanga. Please unmute Councillor Mabanga. Councillor Mabanga.
B.
In the meantime, whilst we're still waiting for Councillor Mabanga, let's continue with Councillor Isop.
On record that COVID-19 is unique to South Africa, to the world, and to eThekwini. In a time where the community is looking for strong leadership, And in a time where the community and the citizens, especially the ratepayers, are looking for the city to stand strong and support them during this most difficult time, it seems like the city is prioritizing the pockets of individuals and the pockets of its bearers. And the citizens at this very moment in time should be prioritized, especially the poor, especially those that are vulnerable. We know that COVID-19 will increase the unemployment, and then they should be prioritized staff salary and the increase of councillor salary. And therefore, we do not support this item. Thank you.
Okay, can we go back to Councillor Mabang?
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Qala nje, let me just appreciate the opportunity of speaking to this item, providing social relief programs to the poor, the 350 rands, the vouchers, and a lot that the government is doing for the poor. Knowledge and recognize the role that is played by the councillors. In our situations, we also assist some families from our own pockets. So it will make a difference to us if we get this 4% increase. It doesn't seem irrational and unreasonable. It's a very reasonable increase. We cannot be an increase. They must rather surrender their salaries as well to the poor. I thank you. I fully support this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Is the recommendation agreed?
Speaker,
Yes, Councillor Nicole?
the DA is against this item and we'd like to call for a division on the vote, please.
Okay. Anybody else?
Minority Front is against the item.
Minority Front is against.
The ACDP is against the item. Speaker.
The DLC is against this item.
Is that the DLC?
Yes, that's correct.
P is against.
Madam Speaker, the IFP is against.
IFP?
Against.
IFP?
The IFP is against, Madam Speaker.
The IFP is against. OSA is against.
Madam Speaker, the DLC vote against is not recorded. It's.
Oh, okay. Who hasn't spoken? EFF? EFF supports.
Imali.
AIC? But ANC? Please unmute the chief whip. Umpopho usebenzi. Cela kamakhelwane.
Speaker, it's Councillor Graham.
Yes.
Speaker, I just want some clarity. Are the economic freedom fighters voting in favor of their own 4% salary increase? Did I hear that correctly?
No, Nicole.
It's just for clarity purposes.
No, Nicole.
I'm just trying to make sure I heard that correctly. The fighters for poor people want more money.
ANC, we're waiting for you. We're waiting for the ANC chief whip. Please unmute the speaker, the chief whip. Chief whip, come back to your place. Na khuluma lapha. Khuluma lapha.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The ANC supports the item.
Okay. Hasn't spoken? APC? APC?
Support.
Support?
Support the item.
AIC? Support. Mabanga has spoken. Ngumalo,
Support.
Banjwa,
Umbanjwa uthe yayisebenzi lento yakhe lapha eThekwini.
Sibisi, are you connected? Look at these microphones. Sibisi,
Is not connected, but he will support.
okay, let's count. Carried. Where's the TA? Zero in the TA. Right. Carried. The recommendation is carried. Let's move.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
Item 2.
Councillor Mthethwa.
Councillor, thank you. I don't think that the numbers are correct here. We only heard from 2 independents, but it shows on your board here that there are 3. Councillor Umbanjwa and Councillor Usbisi did not express their position on this matter, so that must be corrected.
Let's correct that. Only 2 independents were able to respond.
What's it? Oh, that's also right. I guess it all.
Aibo, what's happening? It remains that the recommendation is carried. We've corrected. There are 2 independents who responded. Let's move.
Item 2, rental housing tariff adjustment, committee recommends.
We've got speakers here. Councillor Yorkis Governor.
Thank you, Speaker. May I proceed?
Please correct, just wait a minute. Please correct the time for the DA. It's 6 minutes. All right. Okay, you can start, Councillor Governor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as the ANC and the EFF are busy patting themselves on their back for a salary increase, the DA, as will many affected residents, finds the timing of this increase for rental stock quite remiss, and this certainly will be perceived as an action of an uncaring municipality, which really is not surprising given its history in administration and the recommendation that you just voted on. It is worth noting that while you try to justify this 10% increase today, this item was tabled almost a year ago in a better economic climate and was parked off for almost a year because even at that time, you were still not sure how to justify a 10% increase in the tariff for rental stock. In written and verbal reports presented previously, it was noted that the city's debt collection rate for rental stock is clearly not sustainable, with rental stock collections being as low as 30% and in the hostels even lower at between 5 to 10%. This has resulted in a substantial deficit in this unit due to the failure of this department to collect its own debt. It appears that the key problems here is the lack of the city's credit control policy and the implementation thereof, and the dismal rate of recovery of our debt. The DA has always contended that if the municipality had a firm grasp on the recovery of debt, they would effectively manage their processes, which would result in minimal increases in tariffs. There are obviously multifarious challenges in the CRU unit, ranging from the lack of transparency in the housing lists to failure to conduct annual audits of beneficiaries versus occupants, the tiresome backlog of critical maintenance across the board in these units, the lack of means tests or lifestyle audits for affordability of the occupants that are currently in possession. It is really untenable that the rationale that the city is using now is that it wants to bolster its depleted coffers with this 10% increase, burdening the paying tenants who are actually in the minority, without the city discharging the duty to recover the debt from the majority that remain non-paying. This modus employed by the city is again not a surprise, as eThekwini has failed to collect millions from parastatals for years and lost millions of its own revenue in the water and electricity departments alone. This decision now will affect almost 6,000 units, multiplied by their occupants adversely. This decision will invoke the wrath of tenants, juxtaposed against the painfully slow maintenance of these units, where the majority of the buildings have fallen into a state of disrepair, they look dilapidated, and really the occupants are forgotten. The city is now foisting implementation of an increase, stating that the expected revenue will actually be generated, will be in the sum or region of 37 million rand. We are all very eager to find out how you're going to collect 37 million rand when the collection rate is dismal. Realistically, what are you now expecting to collect in the wake of COVID-19 and its financial implications? The DA rejects with contempt that in the midst of the most trying, unprecedented economic times, the ANC want to implement increases in tariffs. When eThekwini's unemployment rate is now projected at 42%, but city councillors and staff are ready and poised to receive salary increases in the wake of the rest of the country taking economic cuts. All this increase will serve to achieve is that you will increase the mental stress of the unit holders, and they will now just be more indebted to you than before. The DA will vote against this item and reiterates that it makes no sense to raise the tariff, citing that it will generate income when in fact this debt was not being collected in the first place. Again, the only effect would be that the minority paying tenants would be unduly taxed because of defaulters and the city's failure to collect its own debt. To say then, and cushion this blow somewhat, that there will be a 0% increase for the next financial year really means nothing at this stage. The item that follows regarding the hostels and the increases thereon, our stance will be the same in that as well for the reasons that I've just mentioned. The DA will not support these unjustifiable increases when you as the city have failed to collect. Thank you.
Councillor Anipen, Minority Front.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, more and more people are finding it difficult to make ends meet during these tough economic times. Studies have shown that those who live in rental homes are more often than not low-income earners and would have been most adversely affected by the economic downturn as a result of COVID-19. I am sure that if similar studies were conducted within the city, the gravity of the situation would be far more extreme. In light of these uncertain economic times, it seems highly irrational to expect these people who cannot pay their existing rentals to pay an increase as well. We will only be further burdening the poor. One of the reasons the MF voted against the 2020-2021 budget was precisely because of tariff increases, and it would be counterproductive to support this item. We vehemently oppose any form of tariff hikes which affect the poor, vulnerable, and the needy. The MF cannot support these recommendations.
Councillor Pillay, DLC.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the DLC will not support rental increases of municipal residential dwellings and also the next item of rental increases in CRUs. It is no secret, Madam Speaker, that the citizens of our city are really going through major financial hardship. Increasing rentals will not be will never be improving revenue collection. In fact, it will be having the reverse and adverse impact on the city that will be creating increased bad debts and further stressing our citizens. As a caring city, Madam Speaker, it is of paramount importance that we take decisions that will bring relief to our ratepayers as opposed to pleading for the suffering. The financial livelihoods of our poor citizens must be our city's priority. The DRC
Councillor
will not-
Pillay, you're not audible.
Thank you.
Oh. Councillor Mgwengwe, Becky Mgwengwe. Please allow Councillor Mgwengwe to speak. He's in Mandela room.
Nansi ngiyengozela oza ngapha ngiyengozela.
lapho kwena mzweke si right. Speaker.
Kuba baba.
Oh, firstly, the ANC have considered this matter. Maybe we need to remind the councillors that this tariff increase was passed in 2019, but due to consideration of the difficulties faced by our people, it was deferred. It's unfortunate that we are faced with this pandemic, but now we have no other option but to ensure that this increase is implemented for this year. But people mustn't grandstand as if we're not a caring organization. End of the day, we are servicing these rental houses and we need to have money so that they get serviced. So the ANC supports the recommendation.
Is the recommendation agreed?
No, Speaker.
The DA is
No,
not in
ma'am.
support. Yes, who else?
Minority Front does not support.
DRC, Madam Speaker, do not support.
No, let's give one person at a time. The Minority Front does not support.
APC.
APC doesn't support.
So does not support.
Musa doesn't support.
Yes.
Who else?
DRC doesn't support. DRC, Madam Speaker.
DLC. Who else?
IFP does not support.
IFP does not support. Are we done? So everybody else who hasn't spoken supports.
Honorable Speaker, we all support.
EFF,
Asivumelani ngokunyuswa kwama-rates abantu abanamali.
okay, who else?
Hey, Fatima.
Point of order, Speaker.
Councillor Ngumalo. Councillor
We
Ngumalo.
support.
Support.
We support.
Councillor Mabanga.
We fully support, Honorable Speaker.
Councillor CBC, not connected. Is he connected now?
Now you're right. Now you're right. Honor la.
Still has a difficulty.
Hello.
Councillor Mbanjwa, are you connected?
Yes.
Support him.
Mbanjwa supports.
Yes.
CBC. CBC not connected. We have 3 independents. AIC. AIC supports. ACTP. ACTP. ACDP is not here, is not connected. TA, not here. Okay. ANC,
Supported.
Madam Speaker, we are supporting the item, but if my mind serves me well, I think when we start the meeting, the House requested that you only ask those who are not in support of the item, and we agreed on that, so that it will quick the meeting. Thank you.
Chief Whip, I have to consult with the independents because they are independent. All right, the recommendation is carried. Let's move.
Speaker.
Item 3.
Speaker. Please
No.
note something, Speaker.
No, Mtiane, we're moving to the next item, please.
Exactly, we're moving to the next item, but some of us does not have the items you're talking to. We have two agendas that were given to us. The other agenda does not have these items you're talking to. So it becomes something then.
We have an agenda that has collapsed all the other agendas. We were given the agenda last week.
Where is that agenda? Where is it?
Apho Berlin. We delivered to your address.
No, you did not.
Everybody from the EFF doesn't have. Is that
And
so?
you know,
Is that what you are
I
saying?
said to you, Speaker, you know, I told you they are sabotaging me. They are no longer delivering my.
Awume kancane, speak.
Hey,
Awume kancane,
Speaker.
Speaker Mtiane. Awume kancane. Are you saying you don't have, all of you? Is it true? Is it true, councillors, that you don't have this? Is it? It's not true. Let's continue. Yes, Whip. Hello.
Speaker, it's Councillor Graham.
Councillor Graham.
I just want to point out, Speaker, that the full council agenda that we are now working from was emailed to the leadership of all political parties. The leadership of the EFF is on that email. I've got it open in front of me. So the leadership of the EFF did receive the full and final agenda that we are working with.
And also,
that's how we from
and
Adele
also,
Tahiri.
and also, no, EFF. And also, EFF, these agendas were delivered to the addresses that you left with the municipality. And also it was emailed to your emails, to the heads of your political party.
He's even not here. DA must stop annoying us.
Hey, Lalelan, Nina, you are friends with the DA. Don't involve the speaker in your fights. Yes, you are. Don't involve the speaker in your fights. Masingafakwa maluphela liphelile uthando. Mawuphela umtshado, let's not be involved, please. Let's continue. Let's continue.
Item 3, Community Residential Units Rental Review Committee recommends.
Councillor Anipen from the Minority Front.
Madam Speaker, I promise not to be long. My sentiments from the last debate cannot reverberate any louder or much stronger. Any form of increase during these times is implausible. These individuals live under extreme poverty as it is, and it's hard to imagine how they meet their needs on a good day. During COVID-19, it's unimaginable. Demanding increases from these individuals, simply put, is insufferable. The MF will not support the item. Thank you.
Councillor Bheki Mgwengwe.
Naya, check out. Angazi item.
Councillor Mgwengwe.
No. What's up, man? Mgwe? Wait, Speaker.
All right.
Is coming.
All right, I'm
1
patient
second.
enough.
Speaker,
Yes.
on this item, the ANC supports the item. As the committee, we did a inspection local to check what is the condition in these hostels, in these CRUs. On top of that, there is money that has been spent to improve the lives in these areas, and we trust that the people who are living in these CRUs will able to pay, in as much we understand that like our people in the entire country, they are faced with COVID. We support the recommendation. Thank you.
Is the recommendation agreed?
No, Speaker. DA.
DA, who else is against?
No, Speaker. Minority Front.
Minority
ACDP is
Front is against. Who else?
ACDP is against it, Madam Speaker.
Musa is against, Madam Speaker.
ACDP.
The DLC, Madam Speaker, vote against.
Yes, DLC.
The DLC, Madam Speaker.
Yes, the DLC. Does
IFP
ACDP?
against, Madam Speaker.
ACDP are
ACDP is
against.
against.
Musa is against, Madam Speaker.
Musa is against.
Yeah.
EFF is against.
Madam,
EFF is against.
Madam Speaker, the IFP is against.
IFP is against. AIC. AIC supports. APC against. ANC. ANC supports. Councillor Mabanga. Councillor Mabanga.
No, Umbanjo, we support him.
Banja supports.
I support, Madam Speaker. I
Umabanga.
support, yes.
CBC still has a problem. Ngumalo
I support you, ma.
supported. Okay.
I was Lombos.
Approve.
The recommendation is carried. Let's move.
Next item, item 4. Progress report on disciplinary cases backlog. Committee recommends.
We've got speakers here. Councillor Nicole Graham.
Thank you, Speaker. It's pleasing to see that these numbers are coming down. When the new leadership of the city came in, there were extremely high numbers, around 600 unresolved cases in the city, and it had become the pervasive culture of the municipality that you could do whatever you like and get away with it. What we had said at the outset, and I think it is still a critical point, is that the system that we use for CRRU tracking has to be more transparent. If you look at the table that we've been presented with, it doesn't give us any indication what departments these matters are from, how they were resolved, what the sanctions were, and it doesn't provide a real deterrent or show that there's any kind of accountability happening in this municipality. So the anti-fraud and corruption policy in our municipality is not being properly implemented, because that policy says that there has to be the recovery of costs from officials found guilty, that there has to be the criminal charges laid against those officials, and that there has to be, well, there's an option of an anonymized publication of the sanction. Now, those things are very, very important, because if people are stealing money from us and we find them guilty, we have to take action that is that corresponds with the nature of what they've done. We also have the noose hanging over our head of the 62 councillors who were mentioned in court as having worked with the former mayor in defrauding DSW. Now, there have been no more arrests in those cases besides the 4 that were made in December last year. And it's very concerning that your office, Speaker, hasn't acted against those councillors, and that the council, if you look at those numbers, seems to be dominated by councillors whose names are indeed involved in some very serious allegations. So we'd like to encourage that your office take equal action against politicians as we do against staff, and that when we act against staff, we don't just get this very vague list of numbers, but we're actually implementing the policy. We are laying criminal charges, we're recovering money from people, and we're publishing the sanctions to say, this is what the charge was, this is what the outcome was, make sure that you don't commit corruption in eThekwini municipality. Until we start doing that, this culture of fraud and corruption that has engulfed our city will not be undone. So we are pleased to see that there is some progress, but in order for the progress to be substantial, there needs to be a more detailed change in how we handle these matters, and there needs to be some action against the politicians who engineered this entire fraudulent system. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Nkosi from the IFP.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Well, we appreciate as IFP that the number of cases are going down. But if I may pose a question to our acting city manager, that are we still using Rachel Moral? So then I can continue after the response.
Acting City Manager.
The response is that we are not. The relationship in respect of the disciplinary proceedings with Morar has been suspended for now.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Manager. Therefore, if the relationship has been suspended, we are happy as IFP because we were not happy about the actions of the Moral. We nearly have a situation whereby most of the officials went on strike. So as IFP, we are going to support because this does not include Moral. Thank you.
Councillor Kaunda from the ANC.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We are quite happy with the decrease that we see here. In fact, we have deliberated at length at the EXCO level. We don't have to repeat what we have said there in this council, but we are quite happy that the senior leadership at the management level are the ones that are charged with the responsibility of ensuring that these things are implemented. But we also want to recommend that these cases need to be reported at portfolio committee level, so that at portfolio committee level, members understand what is happening, also monitor the implementation of these programs. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is the recommendation agreed?
Noted.
Noted. Okay, let's continue. Item 5.
Item 5. Approval of ABSA term loan session. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Agreed.
Item 6. Revision of approved budget 2019-2020 for COVID-19 special rates relief. Committee recommends.
We've got speakers here. Councillor McPherson.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. I have a proposed amendment that I would like to ask be tabled. It's actually a very simple amendment. It actually makes reference to page 47 of this item, 47 6.2F. If you can just if you've got it in front of you, it's a very, very simple amendment. I'm actually almost sure that it's a typo error. And that is that everything as it is, except that it reads that which the COVID-19 lockdown is relaxed to an alert level 1 instead of 3. It has to be a mistake. It can't be level 3. So I am going to ask that that be tabled, and then I'd like to break it into two. I'd like to speak on the motivation why, and if the motivation is not allowed, then I'd like to speak on the substantive motion.
Is the amendment agreed?
Agreed.
Chair, counter.
Agreed. Agreed.
ANC,
ANC, counter.
count.
Madam Speaker, we just get this amendment now here, and we believe whatever that we amend, it might have a financial implication. I'm saying this because we don't know exactly the level 3, how long the level 3 will take us. You know?
Kaunda, I'm going to give you an opportunity. I'm just checking if we agree on the amendment, and then we'll then allow Councillor McPherson to come with the substantive matters, and then you are in the speakers list. Anybody else?
Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker.
Yes.
Councillor Graham.
Yes.
I hear the concern of Councillor Kaunda, and can I maybe suggest that if the ANC are open to negotiating on the level, that we defer it to EXCO to look at the numbers. I do understand that the amendment Councillor McPherson is proposing does have financial implications, but it does sound like Councillor Kaunda is open to discussing the idea. I know we have EXCO next week. Could it possibly be deferred back to EXCO for consideration?
Madam Speaker, if
we
Councillor
were
Haya-
still dealing with the amendment. Now you are coming with a reference back. We're still dealing
Madam Speaker.
with Councillor
Speaker.
Madam
Speaker, what I'm saying with respect is that if that's what Councillor Kaunda is open to, we could do away with the need for an amendment because it would have the same effect. If we could try and find some common ground on this.
I'm happy to
can I allow Kaunda to speak on the matter? Councillor Kaunda?
Madam Speaker.
Go ahead.
Then we stick with the recommendation as it is in front of us. If there are any recommendation that need to be considered, we still have time. We can even amend what we've already agreed upon. Because these issues, they're also related to the budget. We don't want to delay it further.
Can we agree on the recommendations?
then I'm going to speak on my motivation.
Madam Speaker.
Yeah.
Councillor Aya.
Council, I know.
Madam
Do we
Speaker.
agree on the recommendations?
We agree on the recommendation as written here in front of us.
Madam Speaker, I'm just making a contribution that the Disaster Management Act will be repealed on the 12th of June, or the 14th of June.
Who is
this
speaking
will
now?
fall away.
I
Thank
haven't recognized you. Who is speaking?
Madam Speaker, it's Councillor Graham. Madam
You
Speaker,
know what?
Councillor Graham.
I said, Councillor Graham, can you give me a minute? When we started, as I said, let us then vote on the amendment. Then we can then allow Councillor McPherson to deal with the substantive matters and we continue. Now it's getting more complicated. Let's do as I had requested. That, are we agreeing on the amendment?
Speaker, I'm not, with respect, sorry, Speaker, I'm not trying to complicate proceedings. I'm trying to say maybe there is a middle ground. Councillor Kawunda seems like he's open to agreeing to this now and then negotiating going further, which is actually what we're trying to seek in the first place. If we could maybe amend this to say that if we agree to it, but EXCO consider including it to, you know, the financial feasibility of including it to look at lower alert levels, is that something that the ANC would be open to?
Councillor Graham, let's do it the way I had said let's do it. Let's vote on the amendment and we continue like that. We hear your
Madam
concerns.
Speaker, do I get to motivate my amendment first?
No, I had asked the councillors, do they agree on the amendment? I'm still waiting for that. Councillor Mtiane, is your hand up? Okay. You're on the floor.
Thank you, Speaker. Nicole just talks without being recognized. She is doing as she pleases here. It's out of order what she's doing. Speaker, look, for us then, it's a new item that we are looking at right now. We want to abstain from the proceedings of all what is happening here because even if you look at what had happened previously, then we were recommending that the tariffs must be increased to the normal citizens, but we want to grant a relief to the businesses. And also, we are only picking and choosing which ones we want to grant the relief to. I don't understand why we do that. Thank you.
Okay, let's vote on the amendment. And those in favor of the amendment? Aye, Chief Whip. Chief Whip Cartel. Chief Whip.
Speaker, can Councillor McPherson not substantiate it?
Can
Councillor McPherson please not substantiate why he believes
Recognizile ni Speaker Nicole because uyangena nje ngokuthanda kwakhe Speaker. We cannot allow this to happen, Speaker.
Nicole, Councillor Graham, please raise your hands when you want to, not just interject.
Was right.
Please do that like all the other councillors. Those who are in favor of the amendment.
Point of order, Speaker.
Those who are in favor of the amendment, please. Let me ask those who are against the amendment. ANC? Against the amendment. IFP?
IFP supports the amendment.
The IFP supports the amendment. The DA? In fact, it came with the DA. EFF? You're abstaining. AIC? You're abstaining. AIC? AIC? Abstain. ACDP? ACDP? Minority?
Support the amendment.
You support the amendment.
Madam Speaker.
Minority Front,
We support the amendment, Madam Speaker.
DLC,
We abstain
DLC
on the
abstain.
amendment.
Mosa,
Madam Speaker.
Mosa,
Support.
APC. Against APC.
Abstain.
Oh, you are abstaining? Yes. Okay. Councillor Mbanjwa,
Against, ma'am.
against. Councillor Ngumalo,
Against.
Councillor Mbanjwa, Councillor Mbanjwa,
Against, ma'am.
against. CBC is not connected yet? Okay.
No.
All right.
Honorable Speaker, Councillor Mabanga is also against.
Okay. Oh, I didn't call you on your name.
Yes, yes, Honorable.
All right, thanks.
Yes. All right.
The amendment is not carried. Go ahead, Councillor McPherson, your substantive matter.
Madam Speaker, Councillor Mcheto, DA.
Yes.
Just a point of information. Now that a vote has been taken on the proposed amendment, Madam Speaker, it must be placed on record that procedurally, Councillor McPherson has a right to motivate why he feels that there has to be an amendment. So there was nothing wrong with him wanting to motivate as to why he feels that there has to be an amendment.
I'm giving him a right
And also
now.
there was nothing wrong with Councillor Graham bringing that to your attention.
Councillor Mteto.
So people must not get excited.
Councillor Mteto, I'm giving Councillor McPherson the floor.
Again, Madam Speaker, with respect, you are now giving McPherson to speak on the substantive matter, not on the amendment. You were supposed to give him a chance to speak on the amendment first.
Councillor Mteto.
That's correct.
Councillor Mteto, I'm doing that now on the amendment.
But Speaker, you can't do that after you've taken the vote on the amendment.
Councillor Mthethwa,
Councillor Mteto, let's give
You
McPherson
recognized
an
first.
opportunity to speak. I haven't given you an opportunity to speak, please.
Madam Speaker, just so that I'm being clear, am I speaking on my motivation or am I now speaking on the substantive issue?
On your motivation.
So
On the
will I get
motivation
speak
to
again later,
amend.
or is this all going to be wrapped up in one? I just want to be clear so that we don't. have a
On the
problem later.
motivation to amend.
Speaker, point of order. Councillor Graham.
Councillor Graham, let's give Councillor McPherson. You remember I said, when I call a speaker, you allow the speaker to speak. When the speaker is finished, we can then call on a point of order.
Speaker, but this is procedural and it's important. Can you please hear
But
me
we
out?
agreed when we started the meeting. Let's allow Councillor McPherson to motivate.
Speaker, please could you hear me out? I'm asking for a chance to be recognized. It's important.
No, Councillor Nicole, I'm not recognizing you. I'm recognizing Councillor McPherson.
And how can you ask someone to motivate something when the vote's already been taken? That's not how the procedure works.
Order, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it's the last time we are warning Honorable Nicole. Your ruling
I mean,
is
I don't-
final.
I don't want to break it
Honorable
to you, but I'm not
Nicole
hearing
can
it.
overrule your ruling, Honorable Speaker. And we are not going
Speaker,
to accept this anymore.
No. Bring it on, babes. Speaker, the point is that if
Councillor,
I ask
Councillor
you
Nicole,
respectfully to be
Councillor
recognized,
Nicole,
you must-
Councillor Nicole, again, I haven't recognized you. I allow
But
that.
how do we get? Because when we put our hands up, you
No.
don't recognize us. When we call points of order, you don't recognize us.
Councillor Nicole, we've been trying to talk to you throughout this meeting. Please let us all behave because we want to finish our work and go home and do some work in with our communities. Please let's continue.
Uphold the rules. I'm raising my hand. I'm calling points of order. Councillor Mteto has done the same thing. If you don't hear the point of order, you can't address the issue. It's unprocedural to ask Councillor McPherson to speak to an amendment after it's been voted on.
Councillor Nicole, let us continue doing our work now. And Councillor McPherson, can you speak?
Really, what I'm going to do, Speaker, I'm going to wrap everything up in one shot over here. I'll put together the original motivation, and then I'll follow up with the balance, so that there's no risk of me not being able to speak at a later stage, because I must say I'm confused. Be that as it may, I want to just say one of the earlier speakers seemed to be confused that we're picking and choosing which businesses should be prioritized or receive assistance, and of course that's not correct. This is an item that's tabled that's very specific related to the B&B industry. So let's just put that aside. And also, we have no idea when we are going to move to level 4, I beg your pardon, level 2 or level 1. That's a mystery, which is why I assumed that there was a typographical error here. And the reason I assumed there was a typographical error because we know that there's no interprovincial holiday travel. The international borders remain closed. Flights only start on the 15th of June, and that is for only essential services. COVID is yet still to peak, which means that the prospect of anybody traveling for holiday is very, very limited. And I assumed as the ANC, as they always refer to them as a caring party, would have agreed that it should only be that the rates rebate must remain in place until level 3 determination is gazetted. So that was my motivation. Now, let me say this, that by limiting the rebate to, in other words, that it was only for April and May and June, there is no prospect of the B&B industry having any guess at all for the foreseeable future. The real prospect of retrenchment amongst these small businesses that survive from month to month, I mean, let's be clear on that. They survive from month to month. The prospect of retrenchment is very real. So that's the very people that we should be protecting. The hospitality industry and the B&B industry in particular is on its knees. Let's be honest, many may not and will not recover from this. So it's our duty to do whatever we can to assist them. If you have a look at page 56 later, the mayor makes an impassioned plea that the tourist industry is a key economic driver. In other words, let's support tourism. On page 40, the 9 pillars of economic recovery. Pillar number 3, not pillar number 9, pillar number 3 highlights the tourism industry as key to support economic recovery. Asking the B&B industry to start paying commercial rates when there is no prospect, none, zero, dear friends, across all political parties, there is no prospect of them getting any guess at all for the next 2 or 3 months. Why, as a caring city, would we ask them to start paying commercial rates again when they've got no prospect of income to support that? And that's why I assumed it was a typographical error, because common sense surely has to prevail here. And I'm disappointed that Councillor Kanda, who is a really sensible and economically driven individual, and I'm disappointed that he's not going to support this. We expect the B&B industry and the hospitality industry to resume paying commercial rates and get back to business as normal. Business is not normal. There are no customers, not for this foreseeable future. We want them to get back to normal, but this city themselves are still not up and running. This city themselves are implement COVID lockdown rules. Many departments are not open. Many departments are running on skeleton staff. We're asking them to pay full rates, but get limited service delivery. Where's the logic? Where's the fairness? It's simply wrong. So our appeal as the Democratic Alliance, and this is right across the board, the poor individuals whose bonds are on the line with banks, who employ wonderful, wonderful, wonderful loyal staff. Give them that assistance that they need. Delay the rebate until level 1. I do not see any good reason why the city wouldn't do it unless there is an agenda which has not been spoken about. I thank you.
Thank you. Can we now vote on the substantive matter? Who is in support?
We are in support, Speaker.
Thank you. Who is against? Oh, we are all in support of the substantive matter. Let's then.
Madam Speaker,
Yes.
Madam Speaker, the DLC abstains on this matter.
The DLC abstains. EFF?
The EFF abstains as well.
The EFF abstains. The ANC supports. Mabanga, Councillor Mabanga.
IFP supports.
IFP supports. Councillor Mabanga.
I support the item.
Councillor Ngumalo.
Support the item.
Councillor Mbanjwa. Councillor Mbanjwa. AIC supports. ACDP. MF.
MF supports, Madam Speaker.
DLC. Mosa.
Abstain.
Musa supports, Madam Speaker.
Musa supports. APC,
What?
supports. Okay. So the recommendation is carried.
Item 7, amendment to draft rates policy, committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Point of order, Speaker.
Councillor Nicole?
Speaker, my understanding is that the rates policy is tabled with the budget and is passed as part of the budget. That's ordinarily how we have dealt with policies that relate to finance. Is that the case or not?
Yes, it is the case, Nicole.
Thank you.
Let's then move.
Item 8, ratification of Rule of Order 28 reports, reprioritization of Development Planning Unit budget to fast track implementation of online systems for submission of development applications. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Item
Noted.
8, ratification of Rule of Order 28 report, authority to use Durban Exhibition Center as a field hospital. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Okay.
Noted.
Item 10, ratification of Rule of Order 28 report, town planning scheme amendment. Committee recommends.
We have speakers here, Councillor CBC from the DA.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The DA is concerned with the decision which basically seeks to suspend the regulations on town planning. It is already difficult for our police, Metro Police, to police some of the areas. And if that's not bad enough, if the temporary change from 28 days to 52 days will also be compounded by the fact that the head of development planning will have carte blanche to be able to extend this by as long as he sees fit. Yes, we believe that it must be easier to do business in our city, but changing the town planning schemes is not the solution. The amenity of our neighborhoods will be destroyed with every second household being converted into a business. Not only will we have pop-up shops, but now we'll also have pop-up creches, pop-up student accommodation, and increased pop-up sand mining. Speaker, to put things into perspective, if we allow this to happen, in 1 or 2 years from now, we'll actually have more chance of finding a T-Rex living dinosaur than changing some of the damage which will happen in our communities. Speaker, gambling will now be directly in our doorstep, and teenagers will become addicted to such things before they even finish high school. This will cause massive panic amongst our elderly community too, who've worked many, many years to ensure that they retire in peaceful neighborhoods, only for their streets to be now converted into mini Las Vegases. The public should have been given an opportunity to voice out their opinion on this through items such as Facebook. The DA will not be supporting this item. Thank you.
This one. Councillor Kwabe. Councillor Kwabe.
Thanks, Madam Speaker. I didn't notice it is my turn, but the current COVID epidemic has necessitated that many properties may need to be repurposed and used for health institute and other community uses that are required urgently at this time. However, the current clause restricts the temporal use of 28 days or a calendar year. In order to allow for an extension to this period, it is proposed that to amend the clause to 52 days in a year calendar. There are properties that may have a market or something similar 1 day a week. It makes sense to provide some continuity in this. A land use scheme, whilst it is mainly about guiding and enforcing land uses, also needs to be flexible enough to foresee certain circumstances arising and plan for the eventuality. The proposed land use activity and apply still need to get permission to operate the temporal use, and therefore relevant departments such as fire, environmental health, etc. can adequately be informed of an activity. This clause is worded such temporal in nature of use is very clear, pardon me. This could also used to also cover an emergency housing situation during a disaster or similar situation, but it does not permit the temporal use to remain indefinitely. The clause cannot be used to override the provision of the scheme, as the activities being applied for also have to be assessed and on their impacts and the land uses, not complete with the area that can be refused for permission. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Is the recommendation agreed? All right.
It's a rule of order 28, so we can't vote, but we are very unhappy with it. Maximum unhappiness recorded.
Yeah, well.
Noted, Speaker.
Okay, we know. Is this recommendation noted? then?
Noted.
Noted. Then can we continue?
Item 11, ratification of the Rule of Order 28, request to disperse funding to Durban Marine Theme Park, Ushaga Marine World. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted?
Noted.
Noted.
Okay.
Item 12, feedback on the United Cities Local Government Congress. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed, noted?
Agreed.
Item 13, feedback report on the 2019 Global Mayor Summit. Committee recommends.
Is the Let's move.
Item 14, budget statement report as at the 30th of April 2020. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation noted, agreed?
Noted. Noting.
Noted, yes.
Item 15, revised supply chain management policy. This again, your Honorable Speaker, was dealt with at the special meeting that dealt with the budget.
So
we can pass.
Okay, it was approved.
Item 16, Durban Point Development Company, Pty Limited, rates deferment. Committee recommends.
The recommendation.
Agreed.
All right.
No, Speaker. The DA votes against.
The DA votes against. Who
Thank you.
else
No
is voting
problem.
against?
Only DA.
Only the DA is voting against. The recommendation is carried.
Item 17, resumption of credit control and debt collection process. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed?
Speaker, we've got a speaker here, I believe.
Oh, no. Yes, item 17, we've got speakers, I'm sorry. Councillor Yogis Govender.
Thank you, Speaker. May I proceed?
Proceed, Mama.
Thank you. Let me quote from this item to make a point, and for the public that may be listening or listen to the recorded video of this meeting. Quote, in an endeavor to improve the collection rates of this municipality, it has become necessary to revoke the decision not to disconnect services with effect from 1st July 2020. However, such disconnections will be undertaken in a responsible manner with all past accrued interest written off and the application of the indigent policy. Arrangements will be made for consumers to pay, and only long-term loans would require a down payment. Unquote. Now, the DA fully recognizes that any municipality needs to generate and collect revenue to stay afloat, but will not support an administration that seeks to pick on easy targets whilst ignoring the big fish, million-rand debtors, which is what eThekwini consistently does. We cannot support a municipality that is hypocritical and does not collect its own debt. For example, debt that is owed by the huge parastatals. It is hypocritical for this municipality to fail to pay their own accounts, for example, to landlords whose properties they've been leasing for months and years. You haven't paid for the last 2 or 3 months. The oddity is that the city will insist that the very people that are not receiving rental income from the city will in fact have to pay the city what is due in terms of their rates accounts. The concern is clearly for the people who during COVID-19 have not generated their full income or no income whatsoever. People are crying out, begging, pleading for food hampers, had welcomed the city's suspension of the disconnections, have now been thrown under the bus. The application of this indigent policy that I quoted above is going to be very labored.
Are you done, Councillor Govender? Councillor Govender?
Speaker, I think there's a connection problem.
Okay, let's wait for her to reconnect.
Thank you.
Kodwa ukhona nezulu la 5 rand elizoshaya uNicole limgqibe.
Let's reconnect Councillor Govender on Zoom.
Khona kodwa ongashayela uNicole nezulu la 5 rand limgqibe.
Just check with her if she doesn't have a problem from her side.
Speaker, I can hear you.
Okay, continue, ma'am.
I'm not sure what was the last thing you heard me say.
Continue, Councillor Govender.
Speaker?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm just going to go back because I'm not sure where I stopped.
But you've got
me a
few
second,
minutes
please.
now. You can't start from the beginning. You've got three and
Right.
yeah. Continue with the left minutes.
Okay, what I was saying was that application of this indigent policy is going to be labored because pre-COVID-19, anyone that was dealing with the billing section will know that the majority of ratepayers have
Amiyeke speak, ule nqamuka speak. Ngiyeke manje speak. Yakakhumula isikhafu lesesibuku.
muted.
Councillor Graham? You no? Sorry. Councillor Govender?
It seems that I'm being muted. It's not a connection problem.
No. It's controlled. It's nobody can mute you. Can please unmute? No. Let's. Yeah, we might be having a problem with your connection because you are frozen. You are not. Yeah. Let's try and connect her, please.
Speaker, I can hear you. May I proceed?
Okay, continue.
Thank you. So application of the indigent policy is being touted as being the benevolent rescue mechanism for such applicants. But are you going to actively bring these provisions to the notice of all residents? Are your staff trained to offer this resolution to consumers at walk-in centers? No, you are not. And most officials, when you go to a walk-in center, just threaten consumers with disconnection, rather than offering them mechanisms to assist. With an almost 50% unemployment rate being rejected, how equipped are officials to deal with the flood of disconnections, reconnections, and social worker relief? Many a council will tell you that it is the consumer who is going to suffer the brunt of being sent from official to official seeking assistance, and it is going to be very difficult for those living close to the offices where social workers are based to be assessed for relief or to actually make the trip when they now don't have resources, money, or food. But you win. Speaker, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Councillor Govender.
Thank you. The pandemic peak is months away, as we all know. Jobs have already been lost. Companies have closed down. More people will be infected, but we intend to start disconnections on the 1st of July 2020 after making a U-turn on earlier decision.
Yeah, if connection is on your side, the problem is on your side. Continue, can please try and continue and finish up? Councillor Govender?
Everyone has been muted by the host, Speaker.
Councillor Govender?
It's your because you're freezing.
Yeah.
Please try and finish up.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not sure, I might be repeating myself, but I'll try and pick up where I think I left off. So the pandemic is months away, jobs have been lost, companies have closed down, more people will be infected, but we intend to start disconnections on the 1st. Will you enjoy disconnections in the middle of winter or in the middle of COVID? Why don't you unveil a revised social assistance budget for the indigent? Why don't you cut back staff costs in the millions? Why don't you stay expenditure on expensive suits? Why don't you work out a sliding scale of temporary exemptions for rates for certain income brackets? Why don't you stop giving yourselves increases from taxpayers' money and redirect those increases into social relief packages? Why are you only initiating legal processes now for parastatals who owe millions but will disconnect a man on the street for incomparable amounts? Good governance is really helping the city to absorb the devastating financial impacts caused by COVID instead of passing.
You're almost there,
Speaker.
Continue.
Thank you. So I was saying that good governance is helping the city absorb the devastating financial burden or impact caused by COVID, passing this burden now onto residents. The city has not offered substantial enough relief for ratepayers who did not appear on the indigent register. Yes, the municipality needs revenue to operate, but you just cannot put up tariffs, continue to pay staff as you were doing, give managers and councillors increases, but they know on the street and say to him that he needs to pay up just to keep your coffers full or face disconnection. The DA will not support this recommendation. Thank you.
Councillor Ban Prakash from the IFP.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the decision by Council not to disconnect services and raise interest rates during the period of COVID-19 pandemic was indeed the correct decision. The curve, the infection rate is reaching new heights every day. The curve is rising and the peak is far from near. Statistics from the professional medical research reveals that we are heading for disaster. This would result in serious economic hardship for the residents of eThekwini. Companies will go into liquidation, resulting in high unemployment, inability for indigent to put food on the table, let alone paying municipal services. Madam Speaker, Council needs to extend this moratorium until December 2020 and not revoke its previous decision. The IFP cannot support this recommendation. I thank you.
Councillor Anipen, MF.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I must at the outset admit that this item evokes some mixed emotions. On the one hand, we are headed fast towards financial incapacitation, and on the other, we have poor and vulnerable ratepayers who honestly cannot afford to pay for basic services. This, of course, is no fault of the latter, but could have been avoided by the former if proper planning and savings were implemented. Sadly, Madam Speaker, residents in eThekwini have lost full faith in the revenue management system, which has caused extreme woes for many of our people. Although the recently revised indigent policy provides some sort of comfort for the needy, I'm afraid it's simply insufficient. Many residents have not returned to work under current lockdown regulations and perhaps will never return to work even after the pandemic has passed. Such is the seriousness of the situation. Payment breaks have provided a sense of reprieve for the poor, but now expecting them to pay their retrospective debt with accrual of interest in areas and increased tariffs is unendurable. There must be a better way to recover debt. We have on many occasions asked that strong demands be made on government departments and parastatals to pay their duties, but little, if any, strides were made toward this direction. We must consider providing payment plans that ease the financial burden of the poor by excluding interest charges and areas for indigent persons and those willing to make immediate payment arrangements with basic down payments. It would be a crying shame, Madam Speaker, if it were discovered that the city disconnected the services of the very people they provided food vouchers for. And it is not unthinkable that such scenarios are possible. In view of the current situation, and because we are not convinced that enough thought and planning has been put into these recommendations, the MF expresses its dissent on the matter. The MF will not support these recommendations. Thank you.
Councillor P. Pillay from the DLC.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Whilst the DLC acknowledges and appreciates the relief measures given to the ratepayers since April, it will be unwise and ironical if we were to now, the city were to now pull the plug on the financial ventilators of the very same citizens we care a lot about. Madam Speaker, many thousands of people have become unemployed because of the COVID-19. Thousands of people are suffering. Thousands of people do not know where the next meal is coming from. And yet on the 1st of July, their bills are escalating. Their cost, their water and electricity have been estimated. In lots of cases, incorrect meter readings have been recorded on the bills of these customers, Madam Speaker. And we need to be rational and sensitive to this fact. The DLC supports a call that we should extend the moratorium till end of December until people start recovering from the financial burden they are currently in. And
your time is up. Your time is up. Can we now have the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Belinda Scott?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Councillor Governor, who serves on EXCO, either chooses not to be woefully uninformed or wishes to misrepresent council. There are two sides to the challenge of revenue collection. The city is finding some communities who are gainfully employed using the COVID crisis not to pay their service-related bills versus the genuine destitute who are in dire need of assistance. As per a national government directive, Council is impelled to resume the credit control and debt collection process as from the 1st of July 2020. Madam Speaker, I was personally in a conference call with the Minister of Local Government, Coptic Cooperative Government, of which the Mayor of the Western Cape was present and who fully adopted this stance in the Western Cape. So I find it very opportunistic that the DA are rejecting this proposal in eThekwini, where in the Western Cape, they were the first ones to adopt this policy. Assurances have been given by the head of rates in the municipality that those citizens who can't afford to pay because they have lost their jobs or for any other reason will be able to enter into an arrangement with the city. Over and above this, our indigent policy will support those living in properties valued below 500,000 Rand, as well as allow for the deferment of payments for services for all citizens, irrespective of the value of their property. So the concerns also raised by the councillor from the MF is unfounded. All of these instances will be taken into account. This credit control policy is to get rates payment by those that can afford to pay and that those that are not doing so. And if we do not do so, we are actively as a council not fulfilling our statutory obligations as a council to collect rates. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Is the recommendation agreed?
Madam Speaker, Councillor Mthetho, DA.
Councillor Mthetho.
Notwithstanding the baseless rhetoric from the Deputy Mayor, we're voting against this item. Thank you.
Voting against who else?
The ACDP votes against the item.
ACDP against. Who else?
DLC against, Madam Speaker.
Who else?
DLC. Madam
DLC.
Speaker.
DLC.
Voting against.
Minority Front votes against.
MF against.
IFP against.
IFP against. EFF. 4. In support. AIC. AIC. In support. ACDP, didn't hear you.
Madam Speaker, I was the first one to say that I don't support it, and you
Okay.
acknowledged it.
Okay, Mosa. 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 ANC. Supported.
Speaker, ANC, I support.
Councillor Mabanga.
APC, I support.
APC supports. Councillor Mabanga. Councillor Mabanga.
Speaker.
Umabanga we-support.
Speaker.
Yaphazamisa Mthiyane.
Sifuna ukuvota, Speaker.
Umbanjwa uyasupport.
Councillor Mbanjwa.
Umbanjwa uyasupport.
Mbanjwa supports.
Nangu Mabanga engithinte
Uyasupport.
Mabanga supports. Zwide, Councillor Nxumalo. Councillor Nxumalo
Support.
supports. Qedi?
Support.
Is everybody there? Okay. So it's carried. The recommendation is carried. Let's continue. Or EFF, you say you are in support.
Zange sisho njalo.
What did you say?
Sifuna ukabstaina ngoba sinithemba ukuthi nizoyenza lento eniyishoyo. Niyamaqili.
EFF abstains. Okay, the recommendation is carried. Let's continue.
The last item on this report, Madam Speaker, is item 18, report on COVID-19. and facilitate plans on economic recovery plan, waiver of development application fees for 2020-2021. Committee recommends.
Is the recommendation agreed? Is the recommendation agreed? Yeah, there's nobody who's against, so it's carried. Can I now invite again the Deputy Mayor to table the 5th report of the Executive Council?
Madam Speaker, I wish to withdraw the 5th report as the items were approved at the special meeting that was held to consider the budget. So these items have already been dealt with.
Okay, the item has been withdrawn. Can we then continue with the agenda? Can I now invite the chairperson of MPEC. Please table your oversight report. Please unmute the chairperson of MPEC. He's here. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Madam Speaker, we have MPEC report. We are presenting today. We have a background and also we have a recommendation to appeal to the council to consider our report.
Councillors, here's the report from MPEC. This is an oversight report. Do we note the report? Oh, it's for approval.
Noted. Agreed.
Yes.
Do we agree? Agreed.
Agreed.
Okay, Ethics Committee, we don't have a report. Item 11, or item 12, we don't have notices of motion. And then, Deputy Mayor, is there any report in terms of the Municipal Finance Management Act?
Madam Speaker, that was a report that was laid on the table for unauthorized, irregular, fruitful, and wasteful expenditure for the quarter ended the 30th of September 2019 for adoption.
Where's the report? It's not here. It's the mayor's report on the, in terms of the
Madam
MFMA.
Speaker, it could be the same report unless the chair of MPAC disagrees, but it could be the same report that he has just tabled. But it is laid on the table.
Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker?
Yes.
I think we presented our item and then we got approval. So there is no need to make any confusion on this one, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a hand at the back.
No, thank you very much, Speaker. As the MPEC, we are happy because we tabled the report and the council approved it. So we are happy. I'm seconding what the chair was saying. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There's no report from the mayor's report on in terms of the Municipal Finance Management Act. Can I now ask the acting municipal manager report?
There is no report, Honorable Speaker.
Now, are we noting the report of committee decisions? Noted. Items for noting, noted.
Noted.
Thank you. We've come to the end of our meeting. Thank you very much. Oh, it has been a long day.